Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa, joined by Michael, Eredivisie Mike from Football Orange. Again, you was on for the Feyenoord game, Villa fan as well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Bouncing after Villa's late win against Spurs, but Dutch football head on now. Gotta stop and think less about Villa.
Yeah, I know. It's hard not to be quite giddy because we have beat Spurs and recording this about an hour after the game. So, yeah, we're all buzzing. But one thing I want to touch on is something you said on the last episode you was on with me. And you mentioned that to get the best out of Daniel Marlin, you play him as a 2. And against Burnley, we played him with Watkins and Marlin was sublime against Burnley. So you got that absolutely spot on, mate. So if anybody's doubting your knowledge on Dutch players or Dutch football, then you nailed it on that show, mate.
Can I have a tattoo of that on? I was worried what you were going to say for a minute, but after you said that, I feel more relaxed. Thanks.
Yeah, mate, you absolutely smashed it. So, yeah, talk to me about Go Ahead Eagles then, because I don't want to be really disrespectful to them, but in European football, you see a name and you're like, I know who they are. Like that, they are absolutely epic. And you could look at, say, AC Milan or Fiorentina or a Spanish team, but Go Ahead Eagles, I have no idea who they are. So talk to me a little bit about in general, like who they are, where they've come from, what are they all about?
Oh, wow. Okay, so Go Ahead Eagles are typically a mid-table team in the Netherlands, and they have spent some time in the second tier as well. Past few years, they've kind of built their way back up to the top flight, having the likes of René Harker as manager, Paul Simonis, who is now Wolfsburg manager. They've got like an old Ajax youth academy manager now in charge. It's his first kind of senior position, if you like, as a manager. And they play some good football, always playing in the 4-3-3. Historically, haven't won much in the history. I mean, it's a bit of a weird thing in Dutch football where you have clubs that change or merge or change name over the years. In the 1900s, that happened. So Go Ahead Eagles historically have won 4 league titles, but Go Ahead Eagles as an entity now hadn't won anything in their history until last season. They did a Crystal Palace and won the cup, and they're now in the Europa League because of that. So yeah, Go Ahead have kind of worked their way back up to being a European challenger, and they got into it not through the European playoffs and they're in the Dutch league, but actually because they won the cup in a really spectacular fashion last season, beating Arsenal out on penalties. So here we are, and they are loving it this season. They're just here for the Europa League ride. They've kept some of their best players over the summer that are part of that team, and I think that their league table position this season, currently 11th, I believe, it's kind of lying a bit about how good that team is. No, they're not as good as Feyenoord, and Villa beat Feyenoord, so Villa should be able to beat Go Ahead Eagles, but they've got some good players.
Yeah, you've just kind of probably sent shivers down every Villa fan's spine when you mentioned Crystal Palace and their nickname at Eagles. Go Ahead Eagles.
Yep.
You're not telling me that they're going to be one of them European teams that just find a way against Villa. But you mentioned that they won a cup then. Was that sort of completely out of the blue, or were they really in contention to probably try and win something last season anyway?
Good question. I think in Dutch football, if you are half decent mid-table or upper mid-table team, you're in a chance of winning the cup, especially if you can get a result or two along the way. So Go Ahead Eagles beat PSV in Eindhoven in the semi-final. That was quite a dramatic game, the way they did that. And then in the final, they were losing 1-0 to RZ, weren't really in the game, but were trying their best, and then got a last-minute penalty in like the 97th minute. Scored that. Fans were crazy. It went crazy. And the next time they kind of sat and rode the wave of it on their knees, and then got to penalty shootout and won the penalty shootout. So they can compete with those biggest teams and have done so this season. They only lost 2-1 at PSV at the weekends. They drew at home to Ajax this season. And I'm forgetting another one. Yes, that's it. The Europa League game they had, most recent one. They beat Panathinaikos 2-1 away in Greece. A game where they sat deep, soaked a lot of pressure, and a couple of real quality moments. They have got some quality moments in them going forwards. And I'm not sure which kind of game it will be yet, because at home, they love to attack. and they love to have lots of the ball. So I'm wondering if that will play into Villa's hands.
Yeah, and that's a tough place to go.
Definitely.
Panathinaikos. That I've been to Athens and watched. It's not classed as Athens, but I went to Olympiakos and watched them play. I know their fans get a little bit edgy when you say you've been to Athens. I think it's Piraeus where they actually play. But so it's really hostile, and their fans love their football. So I mean, when I went to watch them play, it opened my eyes up to watching a team in Greece. So I imagine that must have been really, really good for them to win that game then. So I've been on Wikipedia and I've seen, and I don't know whether it's true or not, that in 84, 85, they were in the Intertoto. 2015, they were in the Europa. And then they've been in the conference, but this is sort of like their first main tilt
stage.
in the main competition then. So it's new to them. But how do you feel like they're going to do? Do you feel like they've got a chance to sort of make the next phase? Are they sort of really feeling like this is a big opportunity for them?
Good question. I think with the passion the fans have got to this competition, the players are desperate to be in this competition. They're putting their all into it. They're not making any changes for these games. A lot of the energy this season has gone into the Europa League. It's not really in the league at the moment. And I think that will help. I don't think they will finish in the top 24 because the quality level should tell in this competition. They've got some really nice games. They lost their first one at home to FCSB. They had like 78% of the ball, most of the chances in that game, and somehow lost it 1-0. And that was quite a key game for them to win, to have any chance of going through. But then beat Panathinaikos away from home. So I think football's one of those weird ones. If they're going to have like a magical fairy tale moment of getting to the next phase, they've got to get points in games like this. I don't know. I don't think they will, but I'd love to see them just scrape into that top 24 by getting a couple more wins.
Yeah, so you mentioned their manager and their formation, etc. Style of play. I mean, I guess I'm kind of with you. Their style may alter because it's Villa, and Villa are a good team, aren't they? Especially in this competition, they'll get respect Villa. So generally, then, what type of brand of football do they play?
So they'll either sit really deep in their 4-3-3 and circle pressure, like I've said already, or they will have lots of the ball, dominate the game and the chances. There's no real kind of middle ground with these guys. So I think what they're going to probably have to do is sit deep and hold Villa at arm's length if they can. But I don't think they will. That's the thing. I think that'll be a struggle for them. And then try and play the counter attack, and they love a set piece as well. So those kind of two ways being the ways they can get a Villa. I'd say if you were to compare them to an English team, that people love to do that, don't they? European teams. I'd say that they fit in quite well in the upper end of the Championship. I think they've got a couple of really strong physical centre backs that would fit in the Championship, but also a really good goalie who's making a name for himself, the Busser. Flying fullbacks that love to attack, and then you've got a bit of magic and creativity. Their main player being Jakob Brum, who you will see at a top European club anytime soon. He won't be a go-ahead Eagles much longer. It was a fight to keep him in the summer. I think, half wants to stay, half wants to go, but he's here to experience Europa League. So he will be one of those players that will be key to go ahead on Thursday night, and is really keen to make an impact to get a transfer elsewhere, right? In the next transfer window.
Talk to me then. Obviously, I say I know nothing about them, but I have had a bit of a research. And a player you've not mentioned is Schmidt. I think that's how you'd probably say his name. His name's cropped up a lot, and I'm seeing he gets goals. So what can we expect from him? Because I think through being in Europe and watching Villa in Europe, etc., you can never just look at a team or a player and go, he won't cause us no problems. I mean, we've got Al Karbi, who terrorised us. Ida at some Celtic, who played really well at Villa Park out of nowhere, didn't really play much for Celtic that season, and starts up top and he's really good. So what can we expect from him? Hopefully not a lot, but what type of player is he?
Yeah, there's kind of two more players I want to pick out. Schmidt was one of them, and Vardson was the other. So I'll come back to him in a minute. Milan Schmidt is a tall, lanky striker. He was linked with a move to Blackburn over the summer, but turned it down to stay with Go Ahead. He has scored, I believe it is 6 games in a row away from home, or 6 goals away from home or something. I don't know, in successive games, something like that. So he scored 2 away at Panathinaikos, scored away again at PSV at the weekend. Obviously, we're playing Villa at home, but he is a threat and has become a bit of a. So he was criticised a little bit, not he, but the club were criticised a little bit for signing Schmidt for such a high fee when they did, I think, back in January. So it was like about €1 million, and that's quite a big outlay for Go Ahead Eagles. And he wasn't getting to the team that much, but was known as a bit of a poacher in the second tier. This season, he's been getting more games, and because of his height, his finishing ability has become now more well known throughout the league. And I think at the moment, we're on our Football Annual podcast, we're kind of looking at who can be a striker for the Netherlands in the future, because we are scraping the barrel here. We're looking at a Go Ahead Eagles striker, but he's like, I've forgotten his age exactly. Maybe you'll have it because you researched it, but I think he's like the 21 years old bracket. And I think he has that potential to still get even better. And players sometimes just come out of nowhere. And I think Schmidt's going to be one of those that if he can make a name for himself in the Europa League stage, then yeah, he's one of those players like El Kabi that could be like, oh, where did he come from? But he's one of those that's just starting to notice him, and he's a good player.
Well, I'm just going to have a quick look at how old he is. Right, so he's 22. So
okay,
you are right. He's pretty young then. So yeah, we need to make sure we're watching out for him then. So what's the atmosphere like, stadium wise? What could travelling Villa fans expect?
A really kind of cozy but loud atmosphere. So quite a small stadium, holds between I think 10 and 15,000. So not that many. Villa fans won't have many tickets to get into that away end, and it will be really passionate. I can see there'll be lots of red and yellow around the stadium. One of those small stadiums that'll make a lot of noise.
Last time I spoke to you, I can't remember where it was in our run of games, but we've actually quite good now, mate. Villa,
yeah.
we're five wins in a row, which is very, very good. And Feyenoord were in that run, and you were during that sort of run as well, talking to me. So, touch on what you've made of Villa. How impressed have you been? How we've been able to sort of turn our season and start around?
Yeah, I think the way Villa started, we were quite poor on the ball, and that has been getting better throughout the past 5 wins. But still doesn't feel like it's there yet. Still feels like we can go and get even better. That excitement that we had at the very beginning of the season faded quite quickly, didn't it, in those poor results? But now it's kind of come back again, and it feels like that our season could still be very, very special, especially with turning it around. And I think those 2 wins in the Europa League have set us up really nicely, because they're 2 of our toughest games in this run of 8 games we'll have. So a 3rd win against Go Ahead Eagles, and you're thinking, okay, like we can finish in the top 8 and can be one of the favourites of this competition again. After, when we start the season, we're thinking, oh no, this is just not going to happen, is it? We're playing some good football. Players are getting better. I've been really impressed with Buendia, having come from the shadows into what he's doing now. That goal was ridiculous against Spurs. Like, what a team move. Yeah, things are coming off for us again, but these things weren't coming off for us 4-6 weeks ago. So, good time to feel like they're back.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think I'll speak to you again this season unless, well, hopefully you might come on and I might get you on for like general Villa stuff because you're a Villa fan. But talking like Europa League, unless we get Feyenoord again or Go Ahead Eagles in,
or Utrecht,
or a later round, then you'll be on again. But what finally on like Villa in the Europa League, are you starting to feel a bit confident about us in this competition?
Yeah, I love European football and European nights, and you just get that buzz when you go down to Villa Park and you feel it. You're like, oh, do you know what? We could beat anyone in this competition again, and you get that excitement, and that's what it's all about, being in Europe, feeling like you can do something like that. And even if we don't win the Europa League and we don't do something that we've been longing for a long, long, long time as Villa fans, It's just special to have these European nights, and let's not forget where this club was in recent history. The fact that we're in Europe and competing, that I'm happy, I'm satisfied as a Villa fan. But winning something will just top it all off, especially winning a European competition. Don't get too ahead of myself. So just be in Europe, enjoy it, because we were without it for so long and we missed it.
Yeah, it mean a lot. But what I like about Europe is I like you play the different teams,
Yeah,
the different
exactly.
cultures, the different styles, the different stadiums, and even like for me, listening to you talk about Go Ahead Eagles, I had no clue who they were, what they're about, and you'll kind of learn as we go this week. A bit more will come out, and there'll be TV interviews. Unai will talk, and you just kind of learn to sort of like some of them as well. I mean, there are some teams in Europe that I dislike, and they leave bad tastes in your mouth and stuff. But you get to like a lot of these teams. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully Villa can go 3 in this competition, and then 9 points, and that's a pretty good start for us. So it's been great having you on again, mate. Chatting to you, your knowledge is great, and hopefully I'll chat to you soon.
Yeah, nice one, Luke. Thanks for having us on.